Okay. While we connect to YouTube, let's see. Yeah, it's streaming on YouTube. Brilliant. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? I know you're all on mute, but can you hear me? Hope you guys can hear me. Hope you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Hope you guys can hear me. Hope you can hear me. I'm getting this feedback. Oh, maybe it's on YouTube. Maybe that's why. Yeah, let's see. Maybe it's on YouTube. Can you guys hear me? Hope you guys can hear me. Let's see. Hope you can hear me. Yeah, I think it's, yeah, okay, good. I think I was getting a reverb from YouTube, so that problem is now solved. Okay. Who do we have? I have a few people. Let me admit a few people in before we sort of carry on. Okay. So once you come in, just mute your mic. That'll be really helpful. Oh, sorry, I just unmute the gentleman. Yeah, once you come in, just mute your mic, please. That'll be really, really helpful. Brilliant. Yes, you can hear me. Brilliant. That's good. So let's see. Do we wait for a few more people? Let me get my Excel up. Oh yeah, that's Excel. So let me see if I can share my screen. Share screen, yeah, okay. Share screen. What screen am I sharing? Excel. Yeah. Okay, I think everybody can see my Excel screen now. Yeah, hoping so. Yeah. Okay. Can everybody see my Excel screen? Please say yes. Okay, brilliant. Okay. So chat, yes, you can. Brilliant. It's fine. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of go straight into what we're doing today. So, okay, so first of all, let me get to know who and who do we have online. So if you want to talk, you can unmute yourself. Let's have just have a small introduction before we kick off. So who and who do we have? I can see a few names here. Does anyone care to introduce himself?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Malika.
Hello.
Hello, from London, yeah. Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. You're welcome. Who else?
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
I am Mabe from Nigeria, Abuja.
Hey, brilliant. You're welcome. You're welcome. Who else?
Yeah, hi, Henry. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's Emmanuel.
Hey.
Emmanuel Wosisi from London.
Manuel from London. Okay, brilliant. Who else?
Sassy from Newcastle, please.
That's in Newcastle. There must be some background. Who's that? Let me see. Okay. All right. So that's Newcastle, London, Abuja. Anyone in Lagos? Anyone in Port Harcourt? Anyone in Scotland, Ireland? Um, Real. Okay. We're going to sort of, talk about risk. Now, risk, I mean, it's a big factor in projects. And I think one thing that is key is how to manage it. Okay. How to manage it. That's one thing that is key. So there's some noise in someone's background. I'm not sure who that is, but let me see if I can find it. Manual, no. It's the one. Okay, see, that solves the problem. All right. So if you need to talk, just unmute your mic and then you can ask me a question. Unmute your mic, ask me a question, and I'll be very happy to answer. Yeah, I've just muted everybody now. So Tony from Lagos, hi, you're welcome, you're welcome. Brilliant. Okay. So as we carry on, people are going to keep logging in. I'm going to try to keep admitting people into the meeting room. So sorry about that. Let me see. Okay, brilliant. Okay, I think we should just kick off. Really, I don't want us to waste a lot of time. Let's just kick off. Okay, now risk. Risk is a big deal. You know, I worked on a project with this gentleman one time, and he so we had this hold on, let me stop this sharing first. Yeah. Okay. So I was working on a project with this gentleman, and he was struggling. Why was he struggling? Because he was I think he was a business analyst on that project, and he was asked to write up requirements for a particular project, and this gentleman kept asking for a template. And then he was told, look, we don't have a template, just create what template, use whatever template you come up with, that's fine. And then he kept asking, oh, sorry, I need a template, and he was told that, we don't have, any templates. You're a business analyst, just create one. And this guy was struggling because he had no experience, no skill, hadn't done this before, and he didn't know what to do. So he came to me and said, oh, Henry, I have asked for a business analysis template. No one wants to give me a template. And I said, but you don't really need a template. You can create one yourself. And that just seemed strange to this guy. And he just kept, so I was in a meeting where someone brought up his matter and said, this guy, was asking me for a template. I asked him to create a template and he doesn't know what to do. Now, this is someone that is being paid £450 a day. So his manager was already getting a bit worked up. So this guy ended up going to get a template from his friend. So he went to one of his friends that works for AXA Insurance and said to that chap and said, look, I'm working on this project. I want to create a requirements document. I don't have a template. Do you have a template you can share with me? And then his friend said to him, oh, yes, I have a template I can give you. So his friend gave him a template that he has used in his own workplace. Now, I was in a meeting where this gentleman, the Nigerian guy, was meant to deliver or show us the first draft of his requirements document. So we're all sitting in the meeting, and I was a program manager on that project. And he wasn't working on my stream anyway, but his own project sort of affected my overall program. So I needed to know what was going on there. So we're all sitting down waiting for him to deliver to show us his requirements document. And this guy, as we're looking through the documents on the screen, someone asked, said, hold on, is AXA Insurance one of our, is AXA Insurance one of our clients? And then the guy was like, oh, sorry, this is a mistake, I should have deleted it. And in my head, I knew what has happened already. is one of those guys that don't have any experience, lied on their CV, don't know how to do anything, and he's found a way to get himself into that job, and now he's struggling. So he has gone to borrow ask for a template from one of his friends who works from AXA Insurance, did not even do the due diligence properly to remove all the references to AXA Insurance on the template. And as we are going through this requirements document, oh gosh, come and see a lot of AXA Insurance, AXA Insurance. The document was poorly written. There's a lot of references that came from his friend's document that he didn't even remove. It was horrible. And in that meeting, my head was just down. I was thinking, why can't people invest enough in themselves? Why? I don't know. And that was the end of his project. I mean, he was fired after about 2 days. They came to me and said, oh, Henry, they said I should leave. And I'm like, I was expecting it anyway. Said, oh, sorry. That's terrible. Don't mind them. You get another role. Don't worry. But in my mind, I was like, gosh, I would have fired him a long time ago, to be honest. He was just that bad. I don't want you guys to be in that situation. Creating templates is not difficult. Think of it this way. What would you want to show? But again, so it's not even about, saying to yourself, oh I'm going to, I want to display this. If you don't know what to show, there's no how you would know how to create a template. So that's why it's important for you to have hands-on experience. It's always important. Now, I am going to create a very, very, very simple risk management template. I hope you guys can hear me and see me very well. I hope so. I hope you can also see my screen. If you can't, please just type a message or just let me know. But if you can't see my screen, then that's great. Type a message and also let me know so that I know I'm not talking to myself. All right. Now I'm going to create a simple risk management template. Now, listen, you are not going to be able to get all of this now. And I wouldn't want to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No. I just want you to, the purpose of this particular session is to show you what can be done, how to do it. You might not be able to memorize it so much, but I have this streaming on YouTube, so you can also go to YouTube to look at it again. And of course, if you have any questions, you can easily unmute your mic and ask. Or you can send a message. Thank you for those sending messages. Really good, really thoughtful. The purpose of this is to be able to get you to see if you actually know what we're talking about, okay? So people say, oh, project management, I want to, hold on, sorry, let me send a message to someone. Just give me a second. Let me send a message to someone not very far from me.
Your plan was to complete the whole syllabus in 1 day? Next week was a continuation.
Yes. Sorry, is this gentleman talking to me?
You're gonna start afresh.
I'm just gonna mute your mic. I'm not sure who you're. Okay. Now, so the idea is for you guys to be able to understand what risk management template looks like, or know how to create it, and also I want you to check yourself. Ask yourself a question: do I know these things? If you don't know them, then please drop every sort of, idea that you might have, and tell yourself the truth. I need this training. If you know it, then fine. You might not need us. This is just one of the many things that we're going to be looking at. But if you tell yourself the truth and say, look, I don't know what Henry's talking about, these things are flying over my head, then you need to actually get on board if you want to build a career in project management. Okay, let's go. Now, a risk management document is a document that would help your project manage risks. If you're a project manager, you need to have one. If you're a business analyst, you need to have one. If you are a PMO, you need to have one. If you're working on a project, you need to have a risk management document. Now, some companies might have templates already, some companies might not. Some companies might have complicated templates, and it might just be too stressful for you to start learning how to use those ones. You might want to create one simple one for yourself that you can use. I've done it many times. You can also do it. Now, there's a few headings I want to sort of put in here. First of all is, let me see, can I expand this a little bit? Where is my view? Okay. Zoom 150. Yeah, okay, that's better. All right. Now, first of all, my headings, okay? First heading, risk ID. That's number one. Number two, risk title, risk this for description. Description, yeah. Risk description. What else do I want to add? I will explain all of these headings very soon, don't worry. Risk description, and I want to add, let's say, probability, impact, severity, mitigation, owner, and notes. Let me just leave that there. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to do is to create my risk headings. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. There are a few headings that I need to create. These headings are important because they obviously they guide you and they guide everybody else on your project team on what's going on. Okay, and I'll explain these headings very soon. All right, now I'm just gonna minimize that so that it doesn't. All right, now. Hold on. Who am I going to mute? Oh, good, you muted yourself. Brilliant. Thank you, Ayo. All right. All right. Now, what's important here? Few things. Risk ID. I need to know this risk ID is simple serial number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it shouldn't make sense for you to write it that way. I can say risk, whatever the name of your project. Let's say you're working on a project called Mercedes-Benz project, whatever. So risk M001. That's my risk ID. So it's a risk. M stands for the project name. Sometimes it could be, let's say you're talking about, you're working on a project to do with NHS, or National Health Service in the UK. You can say risk. Okay, no, not NHS quite big. So within NHS, you have different projects within the NHS. You have different projects within the NHS. Sorry, give me a second. Sorry. Mr. Jacob, I'm in a meeting right now. So what you can do is you can send me a text and I'll try to respond, okay? I'm in a meeting, I can't talk. Thanks. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so within the NHS, or let me use a company that everybody would know. Let's say Barclays Bank, for example. Within Barclays Bank, there are 50 different projects running. My risk, my risk ID would show what projects that I'm actually working on. So R stands for risk. If the project is about data, customer data, I can say RCD. So R customer data 001. All right, that's my reference. Now, so this is serial number. All right, R customer data 002. All right, R customer data 003. Now, for those of you who don't know how to use Excel, Excel will save your life. You need to learn how to use Excel, okay? It's important because Excel can do a whole lot. Now that I have done risk customer data 001, if I have about 20 risks, I cannot continue putting, risk customer data 004, 005, 00. It's just stressful. So all I'll do is I'll highlight all of them, hold that button, drag down, and I have an automatic serial number right there, okay? So that would be very useful if you have a long list so that you don't start going all the way down. That's just going to be a bit, that's going to be stressful. All right, so that makes sense, okay? So please, if you need to So keep sending your messages. I'm going to keep looking at them. All right. So I hope everybody can see my screen, because someone just said you can see me, but you can't see my screen. I hope you can see my screen. Let me check. Yeah, okay. My screen is on YouTube, so you should be able to see it. Okay. All right. Now, just going to admit someone else. All right. So we're clocking on 20 individuals right now. All right, brilliant. Okay, so now I've done that. Now my risk title, okay, this is another important one. Your risk title is a short description of what the risk is. Your risk description is a longer explanation of what the risk is. Your risk probability is looking at what is the probability of this risk happening. Impact, if this risk were to happen, what impact would it have on the project? Severity, what is the seriousness of this risk? Mitigation, what is the solution to this risk? Owner, who are we going to give this risk to be able to deal with? And notes, do you have any sort of notes on updates around this risk? Okay, so that's what this, you can have a whole lot other, you can have a few more headings as it suits you, but for me, let me stick to this ones. There are some headings where you can have date raised, the date that the risk was raised, and date due, date that the risk is due. So I might not want to have, I don't have that now, so you can actually have dates raised, and you can have dates due, so we know when this risk was raised and when we expect it to be sorted. All right, now let me just do something. Let me highlight all of this and wrap. So when I wrap, you see, what I want to do is when I'm typing, for example, it's going to keep going on to other lines. I don't want that to happen. So I want to wrap everything within its own line. So I go to wrap and I'll say wrap text. And once I do that, you now see that, it's not going to go beyond that line. So if I'm typing on one line, it just keeps going down and I don't go beyond it. So that's the reason for what I just did now. This is not an Excel class. So I'm not going to go into detail into all of this, but I've just done this wrapping. So I need to do that to help me out. Now, I'm going to name my documents. I would merge risk register. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to make my document look a bit pretty. All right. Hold on. I'm going to make it look a bit pretty, just so that I have some sort of boundary. This is important because people don't want to see your risk register looking silly. Okay, so it makes sense to actually make your register look a bit nicer. So it's easy on the eye, yeah? I know that these little things might not be that important. You might think, oh yeah, they don't make sense, but presentation is key, all right? If you want to excel in this field, you must understand how to present your work. It might be painstaking, but it's worth it, okay? So you see the document begin to form as you pay attention to your documentation. Some can even go as far as adding color, all right, to it, yeah, just so it looks a bit nicer. Not compulsory, but sometimes it helps. Okay, now, okay, good. Now, one thing, I'm going to open up another tab here, so I can use that to illustrate a few things. All right, merge. All right, now, okay. Now, a risk. A risk is all right, it hasn't happened already, all right? When we create a risk register, what we are doing is we are trying to document a few things that hasn't happened yet, but might happen. For example, if you have, let's say, I give an example when I was, last week about building a house, all right? Let's say that our project is around, building a house, all right? Now, let's say that, let me increase that. Yeah, around building a house, and you have people working, all right? People working on the roof, all right? That's fine, okay? The issue here is there's a risk now, all right? What's the risk? This risk might be that this guy working on the roof might slip and fall. Has he slipped yet? No. Has he fallen yet? No. But there is a risk that he might slip and fall. Okay. Now, this is the risk that we are sort of trying to discuss. Okay. So we need to get this risk into our risk register. Now, the risk title is something simple, small explanation. Risk of John might fall from the roof. Something that's simple, okay? It's a small title. It should not give a lot of information, but something that when someone looks at, they'll be able to maybe figure out what's going on. Now, to write your risk properly, there are a few things you have to consider. You have to consider the cause. You have to consider the events. You have to consider the effects. Okay, it's important. Now, let me do it this way. Cause, events, effects. Now, I'm not saying write cause, event, effects. No, I'm saying use this as a way of writing your risk description. Because this risk description is what your senior managers would look at, read in detail, and understand what is the cause of this risk, what is going to happen, and if it happens, how is it going to affect the project. All right. Now, it's important that you word your description in that way. Description is just a simple explanation. But we are project managers, we are business analysts. We don't just give simple explanations like that. We make sure it contains the right information. So, what is my cause, effect, event, and effect? Cause, due to the roof being slippery, all right? Event, there is a risk that John might fall off or fall. Effect, hence causing a health and safety delay to the project. All right. Now, I know that John might die if he falls, but what we are looking at here when we're describing the risk, especially when we're looking at the effects, we're looking at the effects on the projects. Effects on the projects. That's what we're looking at, not effect on John. All right. What is the event? This is the main risk. What is the cause? Reason why this might happen. Does that make sense, guys? I hope you guys are following me. Yeah. Please, if you're following me, just let me know. If you're not, let me know. Okay. Now, in my description here, you haven't seen cause, effect, and event. You haven't seen that. No. I've just written a description here, but my description has followed this process. All right. My description has followed this process. That's what's key. All right. Brilliant. So now you need to understand that this is how you have to describe your risk. Okay. Cause, event, and effect. Now let me go back again. Due to the roof being slippery, there is a risk due to the roof being slippery. This is the cause. This is why John would fall. The cause, because the roof is slippery. There is a risk that John might fall. And in this part, you can actually say fall and die if you want to. You know, all right? That's the main risk, that John might fall and die. Hence, which is now the effect on the project, hence causing a health and safety delay to the project. That's the risk description. Title, John might fall from the roof. Description, you've given. So when a senior manager reads this description, they understand what you're talking about. Okay. Just gonna keep following. Thank you. Okay, brilliant. I'm glad that you guys are following. All right. All right. So this. Okay. Sorry. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Do you know? I will tell you. I'm in. Sorry. I send a message to someone not very far away, because a couple of things happen at the same time, and I've tried to escape from the other two meetings, but you know, they just keep. I keep getting messages, so I just need to respond to them as time goes on. So sorry about that. All right. All right. Now, the other bit here is I'm now going to look at probability, impact, and severity. This is the very interesting part. Now, you know, when you look at traffic lights, high, medium, low, right? With every risk, we want to understand what is the severity of the risk. Severity tells us how serious is that risk. All right, that's what the severity is. How serious is the risk? All right. Now, your managers want to know. And the only way to know how serious this risk is by looking at color codes. For example, red, very serious. All right. You can choose amber, different colors for amber. I'm just going to use this yellow color here. Amber, which is not so serious. And then the last color I'm going to choose is green. Now, red means very severe, very, very serious. Amber, this is yellow, but it's meant to be amber, really, like an orange type color, means it's not so serious, like mid-level, midway. Green means low risk, no big deal, okay? This is how we like to see you represent a risk, so that we know how serious a risk is. As a senior manager, I don't even have to really read this. I can just look at all the risk that has red to them and be able to tell where problems are. For example, in the risk register, put a red. That will show us how severe these risks are. All right, but I'm not doing that right now. I need to clear this. How do I clear this? Oof. How do I clear this? See, hold on. No field. Yeah. Okay, but we are going to automate our risk register. That's where the importance is. We're going to automate our risk register. Okay, it doesn't make any sense just going and saying, oh yeah, this is red, this is green, this is blue. We're going to automate it so that it changes on its own. Okay, this is what makes you a very, very experienced project manager. All right. On our training, we have templates that can automate all of this stuff, but we want you to know how to do it. All right. Now, probability and impact. When you go to a meeting, you do not decide what is the probability of John falling off the roof. You don't decide it by yourself. If John falls off the roof, how serious will be this health and safety delay to our project? You decide it in a risk meeting. You might have a lot of risks, plenty risk, but to decide how severe they are, you need to do that in your risk meeting. Now, to do that, I will come to the meeting and I will say, all right, guys, I'm going to give you a number between 1 to 5. And I'm going to ask you, oh, that's not right. Between 1 to 5, I'm going to ask you, between 1 to 5, what is the probability that when John climbs up the roof, he would fall? That's the question. All right. Between 1 to 5, what is the probability that when John climbs up the roof, he will fall? Now, everybody in the meeting will say, you know, because or that he will fall and die and will cause all of these health and safety issues. Look, we're working on a one-story building, things that is very secure. John might fall, but he won't really die, and besides, the roof has this, it's not even slippery. People have different reasons, and they can say, look, probability of him falling 3 or 4. 4 means high probability that he'll fall, between 1 to 5. 1 meaning low probability, he will hardly fall. 5 meaning yes, he would definitely fall. Okay, so if you say it's a 5, which means every time John climbs up the roof, he will fall. That's a 5 probability. Probability of John falling, 5 means if he climbs up, he'll fall. If he climbs up, he'll fall. 4 meaning at least 4 out of 5 times he will fall. 3 meaning 3 out of 5 times he will fall, something like that. Right? So 2 meaning he won't really fall all the time, but probability that he'll fall. 1 meaning hardly. He might fall, but it might hardly happen. All right. So you ask your team members between 1 to 5, what is the probability that when John climbs up this roof, he would fall? And then somebody would say, you know what? I think I would give it a 2, because every time John, oh gosh, I have to make this number instead of forcing it into a date. So format cell. Where is it? I'm going to make that a number. Thank you very much. So, oh gosh, I have to remove decimal point now. Format cell, number, no decimal place. Thank you very much. So it just gives me 2, normal 2. Okay, now, what's the probability that when John climbs up the roof, he'll fall? 1 out of 5, 2. What is the impact it will have on John, it will have on the project if John actually falls? What's the impact it will have on the project? And that impact, let's say, this health and safety impact, if it happens, oh my God, will be delayed, things won't happen very fast, blah, blah, blah. Let's say that is a 4. Very serious impact, 4. All right. Now, we need to get the severity. How do you get the severity? Before we get there, let me rewind. Is it rewind? Yeah, rewind and come to this point. Now, this is how I need to calculate my severity. Calculate severity. Okay. This is how I'm going to do it. Anything between 1 and 2, it's a low risk, and it is going to be categorized as green. Anything between 2.5 and 3.5, I'm going to call it a medium risk. And I'm going to categorize that as amber. Oh, let me look for my amber color. Eesh, what the heck? Where do I find my amber color, please? Why is it black? Yeah, okay. Where's my amber? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's amber. Then anything between 4 and 5, I will call that a high risk. And that will be categorized with red. Does this make sense to everybody? This is what I'm going to say to my project team. Remember, you are the project manager or the business analyst on a project. You're in a meeting, you've prepared yourself, and you're going to tell your team to say, all right, guys, this is how we're going to think about this. If it's the severity of the risk, if I ask you for probability and impact, I want to get severity. Severity, I want to get the color code, all right? The color code, this color code, that's my severity. And anything that is between 1 and 2 is low. Anything between 2.5 to 3.5 is medium. Anything between 4 to 5 is high. Which means if you say the probability of John falling is a 2, impact is going to have is a 4, which means that the severity of this, how do we get that? It should be 2 plus 4 divided by the 2 variables. 2 plus 4 is what? 6, right? 6 divided by the 2 of them. We have 2 items, 2 variables. 6 divided by the 2 of them is equal to 3. What does that tell us? If I go back to my scale, it means that it is between 2.5 and 3.5. That risk is a medium risk. So which means here, I can say this is a medium risk, amber. Does that make sense? All right. if you want to unmute your mic, it would be nice. You can also do that if there is no noise in your background.
And ask a question.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, what if the severity is 2.4? Because
See, that's the thing. With the way we've done it, that's a good point. I just saw the question now. It's a very good point. With the way we've done this, you cannot get those in between numbers.
okay.
Because everybody would always choose. If I choose 1 here and choose 4, what will I have? I would have 5. 5 divided by 2 will give me 2.5. So with the way we've done it, forget this rounding up thing. I have to tell it not to round up. I'll stop this round up thing, don't worry. So you cannot get 2.4, 2.3, 2.2, 2. No. We want to keep it simple. 1 to 5, you're dividing by 2 variables. You cannot get any of that. You can only get, a whole number or half of a whole number. That's all you can get. So that risk, we won't have to experience anything like that. Okay. Let me change this. This is rounding up. I don't want this to round up. This is the problem. Format cell. You know what? You know what we need to do? Let's automate this process. Okay. Let's automate the process. First of all, let me clear this. Let's automate the process. Now, I want to automate this so that whatever numbers I put here, it will add the 2 numbers and divide them by the 2 variables on its own. So I want to automate the process so I don't make a mistake. Because when you automate your risk register, you have fewer mistakes. Now, to do that, equals to sum, if you don't know this formula well, 1 plus the very simple formula, this other. So I'm doing equals to sum F13, which is F13, all right, plus G13, that's that, divided by 2. Oh gosh, stop rounding it up. Let me see. I need to stop this from rounding up. I need to get 2.5 self decimal place. Okay. I need to allow 1 decimal place so that it doesn't round up. Okay, 2.5. Now, what have I done? 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 divided by the 2 variables is what? 2.5. Now that I automated my risk register a little bit, it means that if I change this to 3 and click out, total number changes. Are we following that? So I've done small automation, very small one. It's not a serious automation. All right, small one, simple one. All right. Now, if tomorrow I change that to 2 and click out, that adjusts. I change that to 1 and click out, this adjusts. So my severity would now keep adjusting on its own. It's small automation. Small automation, it helps. All right. I don't want to go back. I know you asked me a question if I can type the formula again. Don't worry. I have this on YouTube. You can always go back and have a look, all right, at the formula. But, we're meant to finish by 9, but I think I've not even gone halfway. Okay, I've gone halfway, but, we're running out of time. Okay, so really sorry I can't go back, but never mind. I have this, it's streaming on YouTube, so you can go back and have a look later on. YouTube will save it for us. Okay, now, so you can see the formula up here. When I click on this field, you can see the formula equals to sum F13 plus G13 divided by 2. All I've just done is this plus this and divide by 2. That's all. All right, now I've automated it. Now, what if somebody now comes and puts 10 here, for example? You see, that's a problem because somebody has made a mistake. You've put 10. The person has not stuck to the rules of between 1 to 5. All right, they've gone and they've now put 10, and here they put 15. They are messing up the whole severity, and that's not right. And I don't want that to happen. So what do I want to do? I want to restrict the numbers you can put in these boxes, 1 to 5 only. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a drop-down list so that you can only choose between 1 and 5. That's what I'm going to do. Now, again, this is not an Excel training session, but I might as well just show you very quickly. That's why I'm not going to go back and deal with formulas because I'm not doing Excel training here. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is my 1 to 5. I want individuals here to be able to select only 1 to 5 only. All right. So I've created a new list. I'll highlight all my lists. I'll come to the top here and I will call it, what do I call it? Severity. All right. And I'll say enter. So if I click on this cell is I-28. You can see the name there, I-28. If I click on this one, it is I up here. And then over there, 30, you can see the name there, I-30 up here. Okay. But if I highlight all of them together, the name is now Severity. That's it. That's the name of this, my list here. So what I'll do is I'll come to this table. I'll highlight probability. What do I want to do? I want to call my table, this table here. I want to call this table, all right? So that when I click here, it will either show me 1 to 5, all right? Probability, I'll go to, don't worry about these formulas. It's not compulsory that you know them, but you know, it's good to know, but you know, don't worry about them so much. You learn them later on. I'll go to data, go to what else? Data validation, any value from a list. What is my list? Equal to severity. That's the name of my list. Okay. You can see this small button here now. Now what I'm getting, if I click on this, it shows me drop down. I select 1. I can click on it again, drop down, I select 3. Click on that, drop down, I select 4. If somebody now puts 10 here, what happens? The value you entered is not from the required lists. Retry. So you see, I've now constrained the values that can be put in by the numbers that I want. So no one is going to mess up my, my risk register. I'll do the same with impacts. All right. I'll go to data. I'm using a Mac, by the way. On Windows, it might be slightly different, but it's fine. Data validation. I want to validate what is in that field. I want to get my validation from a list, and the list is called equal to severity. And then I say, okay. So the same happens for here. So now, what if I'm in a meeting, I'll say, guys, what is the probability that John might fall from the roof between 1 to 5? They will say, 3. I'll say, okay, good. I'll go there, I'll select 3. Then what is the impact? If John falls from the roof, how serious will it be, this health and safety issue? How serious will that be to us? To be very, very serious, it's going to be a 4. We select a 4. That gives me my severity here as 3.5. But that's not all. The final step is this. If it is 3.5, this particular box is meant to do what? It's meant to turn into this color, amber, because this is a 3.5 color. But here, no color. It's just plain. So I want to automate that also, so that whatever the number is here, it will represent these colors that I have actually put in here. Okay? Now, what do? I click on this. Let me highlight the entire table where I want these rules to apply. Okay? I'll go to conditional formatting here. I'll create a new rule. And then I'll choose classic. Don't worry about following all of this. You might get confused, but don't worry. This is Excel. This is not risk register. All right. But I just want to show you how to make it look great. Then I would say, what am I looking for? Values that contains what? Contains a cell value between 1 and 2. If the value in the cell is between 1 and 2, make the color. So somebody's trying to come in. Hold on. Okay. So what I'm saying is format only cell. Sorry, hold on. Okay. So format only cells that contain cell value between 1 and 2. We still have more people joining. Gosh. If it is between 1 and 2, make the color green like that. I'll say okay. And then let me delete that. And then I'll create another rule very quickly. This is not important. Let me just hurry up with it. classic, another rule, cells that contain cell value between 2.5 and 3.5. Make that yellow with yellow filling, okay? And then the third rule is classic again, format cells that contain cell value between 4 and 5. Make it red with red text. Okay, done. My formula, let me delete all of this. So my formula, again, equals sum bracket, this one, whatever is in this box, plus whatever is in this box, close bracket, divide by 2. That's my formula. I want to apply that formula on not just the first box, but on all other boxes below. I'll highlight this and I'll do that. So all the formula is now highlighted. Now I come to my meeting. Guys, what's the probability of John slipping and falling? If he climbs, what's the probability? Oh, if John climbs, probability that he will fall is a 4 because it's very slippery, it's raining, very windy. This guy will fall. 4. What is the impact? If he falls, what impact do they have on our project? Very serious impact. 4 again. Can you see my box? 4 plus 4 is equals to 8. 8 divided by the 2 variables is equals to 4. On my scale, I get a red box. If I have and 3 probability, 3 impact, it gives me a 2. So I have a low risk. If I have 3 probability and maybe a 2 impact, 2.5 gives me a medium risk. Automated. Which means if I'm displaying my screen in a meeting, I can just swap the numbers and we can see how serious the risks are by the side. I can go as far as removing these figures here, these numbers. I can remove them so you can just see red, amber, green, but there's no point too far into dealing with all of that stuff. I'm just going to leave it this way. So I've automated the important section of my risk register. What is the probability that the risk will happen? What impact will they have on the project if the risk happens? How severe is this risk? So when my manager says to me, Henry, this risk of John falling from the roof, what is the severity of the risk? I will say it's a high risk. It's a red risk. There is
What happened?
Sorry, I think he was shut out. So she'll be back soon. Really, really soon.
She just hold on for him. She'll be back.
Oh, is he going to be back? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's back.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
back.
sorry about that. I'm not even sure what happened. My internet just disconnected. Really sorry. Do you have everybody? Yes, we do. I'm just going to share my screen again. Share. Sorry. Are we on? Hope you guys can see me. Can you see my screen? I hope you can. All right, brilliant. All right, brilliant. Now, so this is now done. Fine. Good job. All good. When you go for your meeting, you're going to be projecting this on the screen and you're going to use this to manage individuals. Now, what is the mitigation? Mitigation here is what is the solution to this problem? How do we stop John from falling? Now, remember, the way to think about your mitigation is simple. You're going to ask, what solution can we implement that will reduce the probability of John falling? Do we have a solution that if we implement this solution, it means that when John goes up to the roof, the probability of him falling goes from a 4 to a 1, or from a 4 to a 2. So don't just bring solution out of thin air. You must guide your team to think properly about the solution. And how to do that is your mitigation. What is my mitigation? Your mitigation must focus on either reducing the probability of John falling, or if you cannot reduce the probability of John falling, reduce the impact it will have on your project if John were to fall or was to fall. For example, there is a risk that it would rain, and the rain will slow down the building of the house, all right, which would cost us, let's say, £500 in delay fees. When you want to think of a mitigation, how do we mitigate this risk? You think, can we reduce the probability of it raining? No, you can't. It would rain because it said that there's going to be a weather forecast. There's a weather forecast, it will rain. So we cannot reduce probability of it raining. What can we do? Can we now reduce the impact it will have on us if it were to rain? Yes. So what do we now put in place to reduce the impact of the rain on the project? So when you're in a team meeting and you're looking at your risk register and people are thinking of mitigation, make sure you guide people's mindsets. Your solution must either be to reduce the probability of the risk happening or to reduce the impact. If we cannot solve the probability, the risk must happen, you have no choice, then your focus should now be to reduce the impact on the project. Now, my mitigation would be, let's say, let me say I would tie a rope to John. Oh gosh, what is going on? Tie a rope to John. Oh, I think my internet is disconnected again. Is it? Is it? Okay, no. Okay, good. Tie a rope to John so that when he falls, when he slips, he will not fall. This is the mitigation. But what is the mitigation? We are mitigating the probability of him falling, which means when we tie a rope to John, what is the probability that when he slips, he will fall and then die and it will cause a delay? Because of the rope, even if he slips, the probability of him slipping, falling, and dying has been reduced from a 4, maybe to a 1. Why? Because now if he slips, he wouldn't fall. If he doesn't fall, he would not die. If he doesn't die, there's no health and safety delay to our project. So the risk has now gone. The probability of John falling due to this mitigation has now been reduced to a 1, from a 4 to a 1. But what is the impact on our project if he were to fall? Impact is still the same. It's still the same because if he were to fall, the impact of the health and safety issue is still the same. So it's still high. That is why your severity has reduced 2.5. Before it was a high severity. But now that we have put in place this mitigation, it has now gone to a medium severity. Owner. Who is the owner of this risk? Mary. Why do we need an owner? Because a human being needs to go and buy that rope and install that rope so that this whole mitigation can take place. Remember, you do not change the probability until, you do not change the probability until the mitigation has been put in place by Mary. What is my notes? I would say, what's today's date? Today is the 4th, is it? The 4th of June, Mary asked to buy rope. Simple, all right? Now, if I want to have my date raised, it was raised on the 4th June. When should Mary buy this rope by? Date due. Mary, we need you to buy this rope by the 9th of June. Do you understand? So that is when it is due. All right. Which means This risk register will help me track this risk. When we finish this meeting, everybody goes home. By the next day, as a project manager, this is one of my tools, or business analyst, PMO, whoever you have, due on the 9th of June. Okay, that's when this risk is due. Who is the owner of this risk? Mary. It was raised on the 4th. It was raised on the 4th.
This one is
I need
already.
to email Mary
just one.
and remind Mary to buy the rope. Can you guys hear me?
I just.
Have I disconnected? Can you guys hear me okay? Oh shit, the internet is a bit. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Yes.
We can hear you louder.
All right, thank you. Now with my risk register, I can easily say, oh, I'll come to work in the morning. Oh, this risk. Who is the owner of the risk? Mary. When is it due? 9th of June. What's the mitigation? Mary needs to buy a rope by the 9th of June. Now I'll go to my email, I'll email Mary. Hi, Mary, this is Henry. On our last risk meeting, we talked about you buying a rope for so and so. Please, has this been done? Due date is the 9th of June. We need to get it done by then. Now, when you come to your next meeting, and then you say, okay, risk number 1, this risk belongs to Mary. This is the risk of John dying. Okay, Mary, if he falls, Mary, you need to buy a rope to secure John. Mary, have you done that? Mary says, yes, I bought the rope. All right, I'm like, okay, good. Now I want to, how do I do this? No, hold on. Now I need to update my notes. How do I enter?
You can just use Alt and Enter.
Yeah, but on a Mac, though, let me see. No, it doesn't. It goes to the next tab. On a Mac, it's Alt and Shift, I think, and Enter. No, oh shit. Don't know how to deal with it. I think Alt Command maybe Enter. Yes, Alt Command Enter on the Mac. Now, the next meeting now held on the, let's say, on the 7th of June. Yes. Mary, oh no, not even 7th of June. Let's say the next meeting held on the 14th of June. I asked Mary, hi Mary, have you bought the rope? Yes. Okay, Mary has implemented mitigation. Now, because Mary has bought the rope, my probability of John slipping and falling will now reduce. I'll now tell him in the meeting, okay, since Mary has bought this rope now, this risk is still here. It's not closed. We still need to monitor the risk, but we need to deprioritize it now. So the probability of John falling and all that stuff is no longer a 4. It is now a 1. Do we agree that it's a 1? You know, they're like, yeah, we agree. So that's now low. Okay, that's fine. That's now been treated. No problem there. We're okay with that. We're not closing the risk yet. Now, if I choose to, I can have another column here saying status. And that status will be an open or a closed status, which means if this risk has been treated, John has gone up, everything is fine, no problem. He's been using the rope, everything is okay. I don't want to clog my risk register. I can just choose closed. I can do my open and closed in the way I have actually done this one. It drops down, open and close, you choose one. All right, and I can also make Excel that when it is closed, gray out this entire field. Or I can go here and put a sort up here to be able to sort this particular risk register. So I can sort all open items or all closed items so that when I come to my meeting, even if I have 50 risks, I'll just sort for all the ones that are open and I can treat the ones that are open in the meeting and not the ones that are closed. All right, so that's just one way of doing it. So this is your risk register. Risk ID, serial number, straightforward. Risk title, a small description, you know, John might fall from the roof. Risk description, following what we talked about earlier on, cause, event, and effect. Cause is the reason, event is the main risk, and event is the main risk, and effect, what effect is going to have on the project. So cause, Due to the roof being slippery, that's the cause. There is a risk that John might fall and die. That is the events that might happen, the risk. Hence, causing health and safety delay to the project, add numerous fines and costs, whatever. That is the effect on the project. This is how you write your description. So your probability, what's the probability of John falling between 1 to 5? You choose. Impact, if John were to fall, what impact is it going to have on the project? You choose. And then severity is how serious is that risk? How serious is the severity of the risk? And we have said anything between 1 to 2 is a low risk, anything between 2.5 to 3.5 medium, 4 to 5 high, and severity will follow that process. Mitigation, what is the solution that will reduce the probability of John falling or reduce the impact of, even if John falls, he doesn't need to die and we don't need to suffer health and safety issues. What do we do to reduce the impact of a fall? Maybe buying a trampoline. So if he falls, he'll fall on the trampoline and he'll be fine. What is the severity of this particular risk, which is how serious is it? Mitigation, what's the solution? Who is the owner of it? The person who's meant to implement the mitigation. Notes, keep track of what's going on. What date was it created? What date should Mary implement this mitigation? And you can have a status of open and close if you want to. So this is the simple risk register. You can now use this to track your risk going forward. As new risks come in, you begin to enter them, and this document will help you keep an eye. You will not forget to deal with a particular risk if you have this. You cannot just be putting it on your head or writing it on a piece of paper. You can have this, and this can help you track your risk register. Okay, with that, we come to the end of risk, the end of what I want to show you today, which is how to create a risk management template and how to use that template to track your risks. Does anyone have any questions?
Are you a teacher in London?
You
Do
mean
you teach in London?
No, so I don't train at all. I used to. I mean, I founded Amon Careers, 9-10 years ago. So all of our trainers are individuals who work in the field. They're either project managers or BA. So I don't train. I have offices in, I don't know, 6 locations. So it's quite difficult to be able to be in every location. So, so you wouldn't find me training in any of the locations. But you don't need to worry about that, because all of our trainers do not just train based on what they've read from a textbook. They all know this. They all do all of this in their day-to-day office work. So when they come to train you, they are bringing all of this experience into it. Some of what I've done now is Excel, but you need to understand the main crux of the matter, which is the risk register. You can do all of this manually. It doesn't need to be automated. It cannot be manual. Okay, but the most important thing is that you have a register and you know how to use a register. But some companies have this. I've worked on a company where there's an automated risk register. You just go and enter all of this in different places. So most companies don't. Some companies have some that are very complicated and it just give you a headache because they've gone to pay one big company. And that's just it. Maybe pay Essential or PwC to create templates for them. And those templates are just frustrating. I don't like, once I go to a company, I look at the template, it's just difficult I'll just create my own template.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Now, you don't need to, the idea about this is this. We can train you to be very good at how to manage these templates, deal with all analysis artifacts. We can train you on how to deal with all of these things. But if you don't know it, you don't know it. What I've just shown you now, you can't read it from a textbook. You can go and write Prince 2 exam, but you don't write all of this in an exam. You don't. You cannot deal with this in PMP exam or Prince 2 exam or I7 exam. You don't. And when you go for an interview, if you're asked an interview, how do you manage your risk register? In your last place, how did you manage your risk register? You just explain all of this to them. How do you track mitigation? You tell them, you know, oh, that you assign an owner to every risk you create with Excel. You can talk about all this. But you see, listening to me now, you think you know it, but you still forget. When you work with Almond, you would be in a situation whereby you would use all of this to manage a project in real time for 3 months. So you have no worries at all. And doing it, this is just risk. There is issues. Oh my goodness, what's not right? This is just risk. We have changes, we have issues, we have all of this. There's change management, there is issues management, there is risk management. You have all of this stuff. All right, so there's a lot of things for you to be able to deal with, a lot. But you need to know how to deal with it. There are other templates. The other templates like your requirement gathering template, which you need to know how to deal with. There is other templates like your product backlog template, dealing with product backlogs, dealing with sprints. It's a lot that you need to know. A lot that you need to know. Okay. Any more questions before we go? Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
No worries.
Hello, sir.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for the training. I just have one.
Apologies for delay. So it seems we've actually maxed out on the capacity. So I'm trying to get alternative platforms to be able to do this together. So
Yuri,
a lot of people are waiting in the waiting room for this actually. So probably a few minutes. So
I'm really struggling to hear you though. Did anybody hear what he said?
No.
No. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. This is clear.
Okay.
My
name is Tokumbo from Lagos, Nigeria. Can I go ahead?
Okay.
First and foremost, I appreciate this training on a risk register. It's something that really opened my eyes, even though as I'm speaking to you, I'm a certified project management professional from PMI, and I've never come across such a register like this. And I think this is one of the challenges I'm having. So how can Almond Career be of help for someone like me? I quite understand that you have so many trainers, but we appreciate if the cost will not be something that will be too expensive for one to bear. It's a lovely, in fact, the way you really simplify the rate register is something that really blew my mind. So I would love to be to really plug into the training offered by your company. So, but cost is also something that I'm concerned with. Thank you, sir.
I understand that completely. I understand that. You can go to you can go to our website or our Instagram. We're very, very, very active on Instagram.
Okay, sir.
We're very, very active on Instagram, but you can also go to our website and almondcareers.com. Hold on, let me open up this. I'm still sharing my screen, I hope. Yeah, so www.almondcareers.com. All right, you can have a look at the courses that we run there. We run our project management, our BA courses, UK, Nigeria. The cost, I don't think the costs are that high. They're not that high because obviously we're not just training you in terms of classroom training. You also have to work on a project for 3 months where you would use Prince 2 methodology. You would use Agile Scrum to deliver a project from start to end.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to teach you Prince 2. We're going to teach you Agile Scrum. We're going to teach you business analysis.
Okay.
All right. It's important. And then you would learn how to apply all of that. I'm not sure why this is here, but you would learn how to apply all of that. All right. So almondcareers.com.
I got it.
Now we are starting a session. There's a session we're running on Saturday. This Saturday starts on the 6th. 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. to 12. It will run for about 8 weeks on the advanced model. If you're in the UK, you have a very, very good offer on price right now. Really, really good for you to jump in. It takes about 3 to 4 months to get you ready, properly ready. So if you want to get a job by the end of the year, you need to start now. If you want to get a job early next year, my advice, start now. People learn at different steps. Some people can learn really quickly, some can't learn really quickly, but the point is, you need time. You need to invest in yourself. People find it very difficult investing in themselves. They want to take the shortcut. I've spoken to a lot of people who want to use, manipulate their CV and all this stuff, and I tell them, listen, there's no need to do this. Okay, invest in yourself so that the knowledge is in your head. So if they strip you of everything, the knowledge you have in your head is still there. These things I'm teaching you now, I learned them years ago, but it's there. Take my house, take my car, take my company, take everything. I can create it all again from scratch, because what created it is not a certificate. What created is what I have in my head. And that's what I want for each and every one of you. So investing in yourself should be something that you should be able to look forward to doing. So please, if you're interested, we run project management trainings, business analysis trainings, software testing trainings, but at least project management and BA, you can hop on, give us a call, go to Instagram, send us a chat message on Instagram. We're very, very active on Instagram. We can respond to your chat messages, bring you on board. You can kick off. Let's start this journey together so that in the next couple of months, you'll be ready to take that career step. We have individuals in Nigeria who've gotten jobs in Canada, who've gotten very good jobs in Nigeria. We have people in Nigeria, in the UK, who've started. We have candidates who just got a job now in the midst of this pandemic. I can tell you, I have a few candidates. A lady who just called me 2 days ago. They are going to request for her reference. I saw another reference request come through today from another recruiter. Again, people are securing jobs amidst this pandemic. So don't think there are no jobs. There are jobs in the UK. There are jobs in Europe. Many of these jobs now would even allow you to work from home due to COVID-19. So there are jobs all over the place. So don't fold your arms and think, oh, let me just wait until this. No. Don't procrastinate. Get in there. Let's do this together. I promise you, you won't regret it. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Please, harmoncareers.com if you are interested in finding out a bit more. Yes.
Sorry, sir. Which one is starting on Saturday? Which of the aspects is starting on Saturday?
There's a project manager and a business analysis course starting on Saturday.
Okay.
Both.
Okay, I will check through your website.
You can give us a call or any of the numbers on our website on Instagram.
Okay.
Give us a call on any of those numbers.
Okay, I will do that.
You can send us a message. You can tell you how to register, how to make payments, and all of that stuff, and we can pick it up from there.
Okay, I will do that.
Any more questions before we go?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.
I'm streaming this on
very
YouTube,
much.
so you can go back and have a rewatch if you want to. Thank you very much, guys. All right. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
What have you people done to
The
this?
thing has off. The thing was
Tony, go and bring charger for me.
Bye.
It's off now. What are you looking?
Maybe anything. The thing just told us that